Hey, welcome back.
We're back.
It's almost like we were gone for a week, but we weren't. Welcome to today's episode of Your Daily Scrum. I'm professional Scrum trainer Ryan Ripley. That is professional Scrum trainer, something right there, Todd Miller.
Oh, which way do I point for you?
We get together each and every day to help you do your Scrum just a little bit better. We're both co-authors. We wrote Fixing Your Scrum, Practical Solutions to Common Scrum Problems. We teach the catalog of scrum.org courses. Check all that stuff out in the description. Drop us a line, leave us a comment, like and subscribe so you never miss a video. All right. And leave your questions. Your questions magically turn into videos. It's crazy how that happens. Today's question comes from Daniel in one of the comments left recently. Daniel asks, should a Scrum team replace code reviews with mob programming? All right, Todd, I think the premise of this question is that since we're a mob programming, let's define this real quick. It's when it's an entire team with one keyboard working together collaboratively to design, develop, and deploy code together as one cohesive unit. A code review back in the day, two programmers or three or a group would get together and look at lines of code and see how people were using patterns and applying different frameworks and methods. And there would be like a formal code review process or practice that would occur in order to help make sure quality was high and that more junior programmers were getting some good mentoring and some training from more senior programmers and just a good collaborative activity as well. So with those two basic...
Well, there's just to kind of, there could be a different way that we look at code review too, because that's right. A definition, right? Because a code review could also be like a lot of the tools we have like a gated review where you check it in and it says, hey, ready for code review, but it actually doesn't hit trunk or whatever branch. Hopefully you're working on trunk. It doesn't hit whatever branch it's supposed to get checked into without somebody else looking at it, reviewing it, maybe providing some comments. That could be happening too.
Yeah. And so, Todd, what do you think on this? Can or should mob programming replace the practice of code reviews?
I think they're two different things, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like saying because we're going to mob program, should we stop pair programming?
No, I think these are two different tools along the same line as Todd. I think they both have their purpose. I think there's a place for each one of them. The problem that I would have with replacing code reviews with mob programming is that mob programming would become mandatory. And I don't think it's the kind of practice that you want to make mandatory. You know, there are times where Todd and I work together on things, right? When we're designing workshops or we're writing chapters of a book or we're working on videos or ideas or classes. There are also times where we both kind of go our own ways and work on our own. I would hate to be in a situation where we had to pair 100% of the time. It just isn't, it's not always going to be the right fit for work. Plus, to Todd's point about the way that he framed code reviews, I thought that was really smart. You know, there could be some regulations, some real reasons, perhaps even in your definition of done that, look, two sets of eyes have to be on this. They have to do some very specific things, some very specific checks. There could be some automated, cyclometric complexity measurements and different automated reviews. I think I said that right.
Cyclomatic complexity.
Cyclomatic complexity. Thank you. As you all know, I'm not great at pronouncing things on this show, so I'm working on it though. So there could be some really great things that come out of that as well. And so yeah, these are two different tools, two different purposes. I would hate to live on a team where mob programming or pair programming or even solo programming is mandated 100% of the time. And I fear that's where we would go if we try to replace code reviews with that practice.
Yeah, I just can't see having to, like you said, pair all the time. I mean, pair programming with another person is exhausting. Mob programming is really exhausting. I just don't think this is something that you do all day, every day. Now, that does beg the question, should you code review everything? And from my experience is I really like this practice. I really like the practice of when I check in code that it alerts and everybody gets to knows Todd checked in some code. Can someone can some other developer grab that, take a look at it and see the changes, or maybe grab Todd and we sit down, we talk about what I changed and why I changed it that way. And then that person checks it in and it goes into trunk or whatever branch we're working on. Right. I think that I really like that practice. I think that a lot of the tools are either binary, it's either on or it's not. So you have to You have to code review everything, meaning even if I check in a bug that took me 30 seconds to fix, someone else has to look at it and push it to the branch, or again, trunk. Hopefully you're working in trunk.
Well, there's separation of duties that sometimes are mandatory. If you're working in a financial system, for example, or like if there's regulations like the FDA, sometimes it's just required that someone else pushes to prod instead of the originator of the code. So I don't think these two things replace each other. Now, could mob programming, Todd, or pair programming make your code review smoother? Maybe.
Yeah, because I think that we're all gonna probably arrive at the patterns and practices that make us a good team together faster, and new practices and patterns as new problems that we're trying to solve emerge. Right? I do, and I've pretty much had a long-standing stance that pairing is exhausting. And it can't be 100% of the time. There's some people that would disagree with me on that. But I really like the practice of code reviews. Visual Studio, for instance, has a really good process, or it's not really Visual Studio. It's now Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps carries that process through and hooks into Visual Studio for it. It makes it really nice and easy. And so I really do like the practice of code reviews.
So let's not turn code reviews into a negative thing. I think they're a very positive practice. So is mob programming. So is pair programming. Each has their place. Each has their application. And as Todd said, code reviews could be a really great thing.
Yeah.
You know what? I think it's end screen time.
Let's do it.
Like we said before, be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss a video. Thank you, Daniel, for that question. You know what, y'all? Leave us some more questions, and we're more than happy to turn those into videos too. Check out the socials. Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn are very active. We still haven't figured out the gram. We're working on it. Some videos are going to pop up. We think you might like them. The YouTube algorithm thinks so too. For Todd Miller, I'm Ryan Ripley. Go forward, do some great things. Try a code review if you haven't done one in a while. Let us know how it goes in the comments, and we'll see you tomorrow.